Welcome to the Augusta Golf Show podcast. Now, here's John Patrick.
Well, our friend Josh Carpenter from the Sports Business Journal is back. The announcements from the PGA Tour have been coming fast and furious lately. It's a pleasure to welcome Josh Carpenter back to the Augusta Golf Show. How are you, Josh?
Doing great, John. Always good to be with you.
You've become an NFL insider, sort of.
I don't know about that.
Let's catch everybody up on what's going on. 2028, there are going to be two categories of tournaments on the PGA Tour. Championship Series, Challengers Series. How many Championship Series tournaments are they looking for?
Right now, you're talking about around 15 Championship Series events, and they're kind of the way the tour is billing is it's considering this Championship Series kind of your regular season PGA Tour event plus your postseason, whatever that looks like. That's still not determined yet. Plus the majors, plus the Ryder Cup or President's Cup, and then plus the Players Championship. So they're calling it 15 Championship Series events, but they're also saying like, hey, this wider Championship Series is approximately 23 to 24 events for all the top players. So that's kind of the full-on schedule. You'll look at like between 23 and 24 events for those top players.
Okay. So as you and I are talking right now, subject to change, give me the list of the already announced Championship Series events.
Yeah, so far you've had, let me see, and I hope I don't miss any here, John.
I'll help.
You've had the Arnold Palmer Invitational has been confirmed as a championship series. You've got the Century, which used to be played in Hawaii. Now it's the old Torrey Pines event.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the Cadillac Championship at Doral.
Mm-hmm.
You've got, what are the other ones? I said API already. The newly sponsored Greensboro tournament, sponsored by Raymond James, the old Wyndham Championship, will be a championship series event in 2 years. You've got the Sampo Championship, which is a new sponsor. A Japanese company is coming in, and that's basically the old Rocket Classic. Rocket Mortgage's deal to sponsor that event expired, and so this company Sampo came in and is sponsoring this tournament that will be played at out in Napa next year, but then it will be a championship series event in 2028. Let me see, John. I think that's all.
That's it.
Is that all? Is that all
I think so. Yeah, I think. Did Greensboro surprise you?
It did at first when when they made the announcement this week. I had reported on it just after the tournament wrapped up last week. And the Travelers Championship is another one. While I was on my brain, that's one that's been announced as well. I think a lot of people are surprised by that just because the tour has talked a lot about, going to big markets and things of that nature. And so then you go to a market like Greensboro. That's not a big market, but money talks. And they were able to get the funding to make it happen. They have a sponsor that's willing to pay. You have the state of North Carolina is paying about $40 million over a handful of years to make sure this happens. So that money is going to be a little bit spread around, John, between course upgrades at Sedgefield and helping with sponsorship costs, a number of things. So I think where the tour probably landed on that as a championship is, yes, it's not a big market, but the tour has to keep some of its history in mind here as well. And that history, that tournament does have a lot of history to it. A lot of big names used to play there, and so I think it would have looked poorly on the tour if that event had just gone away. And so what you'll see, I believe, is that it'll be played in the spring and come 2028. Next year it'll still be in August. It'll be the final season or final tournament of the regular season, but I believe in 2028 you'll actually see Sedgefield and the Raymond James event played in the spring.
I know there are other tournaments that can be designated this, but right off the top of my head, Josh, I guess we still have Truist. That's
Truist will be one. Yep.
Memorial.
You've got the AT&T out at Pebble Beach.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that will be one. I believe the Phoenix Open will be one.
Okay.
I believe there's a strong chance that the CJ Cup, the Byron Nelson event will be one, so they can get the Dallas-Fort Worth area a piece of it.
Genesis?
I believe the Genesis Invitational will be one. Genesis is a matter of where that will be. in terms of there's been a lot of questions about Riviera and whether Riviera wants to still host a PGA Tour event every year. So Genesis will be. It's just a question of whether that'll be at Riviera or somewhere else. The BMW Championship is an event that has been a big one on tour for a long time, and BMW's deal is up after 2027 to sponsor that tournament. But everything I'm hearing, John, is that BMW will renew for that tournament and keep it on the schedule for a good while coming up as a big tournament. So whether that's part of the tour's postseason or not, I don't know. It'll be either a championship series event or part of the tour's postseason.
We're talking with Josh Carpenter here on the Augusta Golf Show. Do you think Josh will have this figured out by the end of the calendar year?
Yeah, I think they're probably looking to have everything mapped. Maybe not by the end of the calendar year, but I would bet by the time next season starts. I think I guess Amex is probably going to be the first tournament next season. I would think that they'll try and have everything figured out by then when that next season tees off. So we're talking January timeframe.
And are we looking, Josh, at just about everything else becoming a Challenger Series event, or are you thinking we may hear about new tournaments?
Yeah, you may have some new tournaments that come in. I mean, look at just for example, John, you have the FedEx St. Jude Championship, which is going on right now as we speak, has been a PGA. It's a FedEx Cup playoff event for many years. That event is not going to be on the Championship Series, and so there are questions around that event. It's like, hey, is it just going to go away now that FedEx is kind of walking away from that sponsorship? And there's a chance that does leave, and so if that leaves, well, okay, are you going to find another sponsor or another event that'll come in there and sponsor a Challenger Series tournament, which is really it's a step down from the Championship Series. So I think you could see some sponsors who are current tour sponsors. They might say, hey, we don't want to sponsor a second tier product, and we're done with this. So then it'll be about what can the tour bring in from a new sponsorship perspective. And maybe they do hit some new markets with some of these Challenger Series events. I think that's a real possibility.
Is FedEx also stepping away from the year-long sponsorship?
That's still to be determined. There were more questions around the event sponsorship than the kind of umbrella sponsorship. That deal also is through 2027. So I think there are certainly some negativity about FedEx and whether they might walk away from this deal. There are some questions about that, but it's not done yet. I think FedEx probably wants to get its arms around what this season-long tour schedule actually looks like before they commit to hundreds of millions of dollars over the next what that next term would be like.
A couple of more questions while I have you. When you do the math about the players on the Championship Series who will not be allowed to play on the Challenger Series, what do you think all this means for Korn Ferry?
Yeah, I mean, Korn Ferry is going to be, I think, severely impacted by this because if you're just looking at player-wise, John, then the Challenger Series in effect is going to have all the same players that would normally be on the Korn Ferry Tour.
Mm-hmm.
So then you go down and you're essentially making the Korn Ferry Tour the PGA Tour Americas, which is the step below the Korn Ferry Tour now. So, I don't know what this means for the PGA Tour Americas, but it certainly, field quality on Korn Ferry Tour will definitely go down. I don't know. There's not been a ton report. I think everyone's so focused right now on, what happens to these top two series and what do those look like. But I do believe, Brian Rolap went and met with Korn Ferry Tour members last year. But in essence, John, the Korn Ferry Tour members that he met with, those are likely going to be your Challenger Series players, right? So, I don't know what it means for the Korn Ferry Tour. Certainly less visibility, I would think, than even what it has. Even now, it's hard to find a Korn Ferry event that gets a spot on television. So going forward, I would think much less visibility around that tour.
And then you snuck this in. Apple in discussions about possibly broadcasting the Open Championship in this country?
Yeah, that's there was a report overseas this week about Apple kind of being interested in the Open Championship. That deal with NBC, I think it has 2 years left, or maybe I can't remember, John, off the top of my head, if it ends next year or the year after. I believe they have 2 more years. But with these TV rights agreements, typically you don't want to get into a final year of a contract before you start going to market and trying to hammer out a new deal. So, yeah, listen, we've seen Apple, has MLS rights, it's had F1 rights. It's just another one of these streamers that is seeing the value in live sports. I mean, look at how many NFL games now are on Netflix and YouTube and all these other platforms. Think about all the other streaming options. NFL games on Amazon Prime Video now. So it's not really out of the ordinary at all to see a streamer like that be involved in serious bidding on sports rights. Even last year, Netflix was really involved in bidding on the rights for the U.S. Open and the USGA rights here in the States that, NBC and Golf Channel ended up keeping, but Netflix was really involved there. So, and if you look, John, the golf ratings week to week, they're not going to draw what the NFL does.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to draw 10 million viewers an event, but in the wider sports landscape, the golf ratings are pretty good. And so I think people see that as a valuable property.
He's Josh Carpenter from the Sports Business Journal. Thank you for hopping on quickly, Josh. I appreciate it. We'll talk again, I'm sure.
Always enjoy our conversations, John. Really appreciate it.